Hello everybody and welcome to Nerds of the Round Table, a weekly talk show where me and my best friends discuss ongoing affairs of nerd culture, and Jack sometimes texts us through the intro.
I was turning off all the buttons so that nothing could interrupt our glorious first run on video.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Jack Rooney. You now know what he looks like. This is what I stare into every day when we do the podcast.
And
every day.
Our podcasts are so short because you can't stand it for that long.
It's true. I'm adjusting my mic.
Yeah.
Sorry, Fred. Fred's behind the camera today.
Yes.
We're also on camera. I'm going to avoid introducing you as long as possible. We're also on camera today, which is brand new.
If you're an audio listener, you're very confused.
Yeah, you have no idea what's going on. You don't know how much fucking work got put into this. And to my right, your left, the biggest beard in the table. On the table. You can put the beard on the table if you want.
I could. Do you want me to?
No,
Okay.
please no. I can never wash that off. Tom Hawkins, who is the newest addition to Nerds of the Round Table. And Fred, but Fred's not as important.
You know what else is new to Nerds? These
Our
t-shirts.
shirts.
They are.
You should just let me stick to the whole.
You got a script?
I do. It's all in here.
We never do that.
I don't have an LCD chart. I've got my lovely PlayStation 1.
That's a cool one. I complimented you on that earlier. I'm
PlayStation Store.
quite jealous
Worth
that I
it.
don't have it. So people are always asking, Sean, how can I get on the podcast? And it's pretty easy. Fly to my house. That's what Tom did.
Yeah.
Tom flew how many miles?
3,000-ish, I think. Yeah, 3,000.
And then he landed in New York. No, Newark.
New Jersey.
Yeah, and we had to try to find him at the airport, which was
Mhm.
tough. I'm surprised they let you through with a beard like that.
It was close.
They actually
there were a lot of
didn't-
questions.
They almost didn't let him through, and that's
yeah.
not even me being
An
funny.
entire crowd of like security guards just creeping on.
Did you hear that story? Like
No,
they
no, no.
legitimately almost
Oh
didn't
yeah,
let
yeah,
Tom
yeah,
through.
yeah.
So
There's one
basically-
giving them a hard time.
Because this is now my third time to the US. So I came 2 months ago to San Francisco, and I went last month. I came to Comic Con. That was good. And then this time, yeah, they were like, no, you've come 3 times. You've come quite frequently now. And she was like, they stamped your passport. Yeah. Yeah, oh dear. Oh dear. But no, they stamped your passport, and she was dubious about doing it before she did it. It was scary.
That is. It was. What's fucked up is that if they don't let you into the country, they don't tell you before you get here.
Yeah, so I don't know what happens there. I
Yeah,
don't know
they
what
should
happens.
decide. Otherwise, they kick you back on the plane,
Yeah.
toss you in a suitcase.
No, that's what they do. They keep
I know.
you in loading and they just fly you back,
Yeah, yeah.
and you just eat the cost of the flight.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, you have to pay for
I'm
the
not
flight
sure.
back,
I have to
or-
look into it.
Yeah, because
Oh, I don't. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
hope you don't ever
I hope
have
it
to
doesn't.
find out. Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, so first time ever on video. We have a lot of new stuff going. This will be going live the same day as we announced that Tom is a part of Nerds of the Round Table.
Which I'm sure is blowing all of your minds. Right
We'll
now.
have we have a new website, nerdsonline.com, KN, just like the shirt, online.com. So that's pretty cool. Got a bunch of stuff to talk about. But Tom, tell me a little bit about what it was like traveling. You've been traveling more than me recently, which is incredibly impressive.
Yeah. So by the time we do the next few things we're doing over the next few weeks, I'll have done 36,000 miles.
And I'm
In 3 months.
sitting at about 29,500
Yeah.
miles. So we're both. I might just fly to Atlanta and back just to break
Yeah.
30,000
Just
in
to
the last
do
6
it,
months. So we've both flown quite a bit. In the
Yeah.
last 6 months.
So, I thought by now, I know the airport's like a second home.
Yeah.
I'm used to the airport now. But the first thing I did when I got there, I was like, yes, right, I'm tired. I need a coffee. I need some food. Got there, had my hoodie on my arm because I was like, well, I need, I haven't got enough room in my bag, so I was like, this is fine. Put my hoodie down, ate my lunch, stood up, walked off. 20 minutes later, where's my hoodie? Yeah, that's gone. That's gone forever. Because as we know at airports, they just burn everything that's left behind.
Oh jeez.
They do, don't they? They blow it up. They if there's anything unattended, they just burn it.
They don't say blow it up.
Yeah, I don't
We're
think-
leaving
Little
next
bombs,
week.
bombs.
Don't please. Yeah, I actually I've lost 3 Vitas, and one of them was like that. I put my Vita down in my side pocket in SFO, and someone just took it right out of my backpack. It was like I put my backpack down, turned around, went, got a drink, and came back, which is dumb. You should never leave your package out.
That's very impressive.
Story of my life. And yeah, it was gone. It was pretty sad. So I'm used to that too.
There was some concern over whether or not like Tom would be comfortable like traveling as much as he is recently, and that, like whether or not he'd be okay living out of his suitcase, basically. And it was like
Totally fine.
he's probably more used to that than living at home at this point.
At this
Yeah.
point, definitely.
Yeah.
That's
I
how it
didn't
was.
even unpack this time.
Yeah, that's how it
left my
was.
suitcase.
Fuck it.
So I was on I flew 6 times in 10 weeks.
Yeah.
And that's what it was like. It was like, I would come home and be like, well, I can unpack, but I leave for Austin in 3 days.
There's no point.
So, like, I'm like, oh, I can unpack, but I have Atlanta coming up in a week. So, like, I was like, fuck, I might as well just switch the shirts around, wash this, shower, I guess.
Yeah.
At least once.
Yeah.
In the few weeks. Yeah.
Just to be.
You don't want to overdo it.
No.
So, anything else happened?
The plane was alright. It was good. I flew with British Airways, and they're quite good for films.
That's good.
TV. So
You
I
said
managed
you
to
watched
finish,
Kingsman.
That was last time. That was the other flight. This time I managed to finish House of
Kingsman's
Cards.
so good.
So
Never,
I
I
finished
never saw that.
House of Cards is quite good. So I finished series 3. I had about 3 or 4 episodes to watch. It's about an 8-hour flight from home.
6:30 California.
Yeah. But so I watched House of Cards. I watched Pixels, which is an Adam Sandler film. It's how you expect it to be.
Yeah.
It's a bit.
What happened to him?
I don't know.
You know what it was? I think he just got so rich.
Yeah,
he was like,
doesn't
fuck
care.
it.
Have you seen him on a chat show before?
No.
He turns up and he's just wearing his sweats. He doesn't care. Everyone's wearing suits and he's just like, nah. Literally doesn't care.
I think he gave an interview once where he was like, yeah, I'm really just making these movies because they
Yeah.
always turn a profit and my friends and I get to go somewhere cool and hang out for a few weeks.
It's
It's
like literally it.
yeah.
He doesn't care anymore.
That's the dream.
That's
and, like,
fine, though.
good for him. Like, talk about a guy that knocked it out of the fucking park.
Yeah.
You know, he had a couple of just killer movies in the early 90s and throughout the 90s. He was very funny.
And whatever like
He's-
illusion he's got set up, people are still buying.
People buy his
Yeah,
movies.
people are
Like,
buying.
Maybe people just like, oh, the next one will be good.
Yeah.
The next one will be
You
great.
gotta speak your wall. You want Adam
Yeah.
Sandler to make good movies. Stop going to see his shitty ones. But at the end of the
Well,
day,
probably
keep
just
going.
stop.
Keep going and seeing his shitty ones. Who cares? He seems like a somewhat good guy.
He's a nice young man.
I mean, I can't confirm. I know 2 people that have met Adam Sandler. One say he's an insufferable dickhead.
Yeah.
And the other say that he's totally cool.
So it's like anyone's giving reaction to meeting you? Or
Yeah, I mean, most people think I'm a dick. I was like sitting down the other day. I'm like, I'm an asshole, but it's true. I am, and it's okay.
That's fine.
But like, because one of the people were like, he was in the industry. He was doing stand-up comedy, and like Adam Sandler came up and he was like, "Don't matter what they say. You're funny. Don't worry about it.
Sure.
You're doing a good job." And the other one said, there was a baby crying in the restaurant. Adam Sandler was there, and he just turned around and was like, "Wow! How do you like it?" And I was like, "Holy shit!" So that's actually pretty much me.
I'm sure that was very for the audio people.
Yeah, that's gonna be loud.
That's true. I don't know what to do with my hands. I'm like, look, I've never actually been on camera.
I'm just trying to act like the
I'm just
camera's
kidding.
out there. I don't know.
No, I gotta
Well, usually you've got a controller in your hand, to be fair.
Yeah, it's true. I'm very actually comfortable in front of the camera.
Yeah.
And I like to look at myself, so this will be good.
Do you want to edit instead?
No, God no. That's what we pay you for, fake money. We don't actually pay you.
No.
We would like
Not
to go
even
out.
fake
No,
money.
we would like to go out and say that while Tom Hawkins is here, he is making no money. So please don't deport him. It's important. That he can't. If he makes,
Everyone not into the
he
email.
can't. He really isn't making it.
No, I know.
So he can't. Apparently, that's a big fucking deal. He could get deported and banned from the country for 10 years if he
Yeah.
makes any money while he's here.
It's a 10-year ban if you do anything dodgy. So it's quite imperative that I don't do anything dodgy.
That's terrifying. That's terrifying. All right.
On to the nerd talk.
Things happened in video games.
Sure.
As always.
At the time of us recording this podcast, it's less than a week until Fallout. That is not our story yet. We will be talking about Fallout. Generally.
Just teasing.
Yeah.
I like
As
how you
am.
wrote Fallout 4 generally. On
That
here.
was those
Your
are Tom's
hand-
words exactly.
your handwriting is not good.
No, I mean I wasn't prepared to. I
Right.
was trying to keep everything in one line, and it didn't really work. I need to.
I like the dick that you drew on the
Yeah.
top of my
We
paper.
can, you can show it.
I don't know.
Or is that do we then have to change the rating?
Yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen.
It's very detailed.
visual representation.
It's almost like you've seen mine and
Yeah.
you've modeled it, but on a much smaller scale.
It's quite small.
That's what I said. Much smaller scale, Jack. I guess we'll start out with Halo news. People have been telling me Halo's pretty good. People have also been telling me that Halo's not very good.
Yeah.
This is the first Halo I've ever had heard mixed reviews from. It got a 9 on IGN.
Yeah, I was gonna say critically, it's sitting. It's like either in the 80s or 90s. Like it's working for most critics, but I don't know. I guess.
I think the main issue is the whole marketing lie. I think that's what most people have got.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is
I heard about that. I mean, like some people are upset by the expectations that were set by the marketing that weren't necessarily fulfilled, which is kind of like marketing 101 at the end of the day. But I don't know. Like, do we expect more out of this? Is gonna get fucking distracting. This is why we don't do video podcasts.
Sean's just looking at himself. If we had a
He
conference,
can't even
tomorrow,
see
if we had a
himself. He's
conference-
just anticipating
I
seeing
just-
himself later.
I just know how good I look.
That's how deep the egotism goes.
I just know how good I look.
Anyway, no, but yeah, people were upset about the expectations that were set, that they don't feel like have been met, and I understand that frustration. And yeah, I guess it comes down to like, what do you think gaming companies owe people they're advertising to.
You gotta be true to your advertising. Like I do think it's a big deal because like people bought the game expecting one thing and they're not getting it.
Yeah, but so I mean, people are talking about like, would you rather not know at all what's in the game?
I'm always a fan of just like going in blind.
Yeah, but like that's not an option in advertising if you're trying to tell people about the game.
It's always a
Well, if you're gonna
change, isn't it? But
yeah.
I think you've got to. It seems like it was a big change that they missed out, and they like the desert. It's the desert thing, isn't it? It's quite one of the main issues. There's not even that scene is nowhere in it.
So I haven't played the game, and like it's hard to talk about this without saying.
Yeah, we're not going to go into spoilers.
Yeah, so
but I just want to talk about Halo 5. Like the big thing that it looks like Halo's team 343 learned was people really were upset that
split screen
was not in it at all. And I read that article, and they were like, "We are sacrificing split screen for 60 frames per second." And I read that, and I was like, "Well, yeah, fucking obviously." And holy shit, were people really mad about that? And then people like ripped me on for it. They're like, "How could you be okay with Halo?" Because I'm like one of the biggest co-op guys. Co-op, I think from the years of 2003 to 2009, I played every co-op game that ever existed. You think that's right, Fred? Good timetable?
Probably about right.
Yeah. I mean, Fred and I would just go to Blockbuster. Do you have a Blockbuster? Do you know what that is?
We used to, but they shut down.
Yeah, they're gone here.
Video rental place.
Videos are these things.
We did have them. They weren't. I don't think they were as widespread as here.
They could have you could get a Flash Pass, which is when you could rent any game you wanted, and you could bring it back whenever you wanted and keep it as long as you wanted. So what we would do is we would just go through and rent every co-op game that we can get. If it said 2-player co-op on the back, we would just run it home and played it, and then if it wasn't good, we returned it. A lot of great games like Champions and NORAD.
Army of Two.
Yeah.
I love that.
I love that game too.
Me and my brother played it.
Very underrated. Or
very
maybe,
underrated.
I don't know why people hated that game so much, but
I enjoyed it.
After the first one, I get it. It went downhill.
Yeah.
But
the first one was really good.
Yeah,
really good co-op, like superb co-op.
Yeah, I thought that. I mean, we don't need. I was gonna say I'd like to see that franchise come back, but no, we don't need that to come back. But it is definitely not as bad as everybody said it is. But yeah, I read that. So like, I get it. Co-op's important, but like, I guess I'm spoiled. I live in this generation. Like my generation now is like, you brought your PS4.
Mm-hmm.
You brought your PS4 over today. Your friend brought his PS4 over today.
We have 4
PS4s in the room. For Fallout, Fallout's not a cooperative game, but it is because we're gonna have 4 monitors hooked up with 4 people playing Fallout at the same time.
Everyone's gonna be playing it, communicating about it. Yeah, it's gonna be.
And I'm spoiled, and I guess that's just not. And I get that it's not the case for everybody. Like people, when not. I guess it's weird to have your friends always be like, "Hey, Fred, you coming over today? Yeah. Well, bring your PS4 and your portable monitor that you bought."
Yeah.
And Fred's like, "All right." And Fred has a portable monitor that attaches to the top of his PS4, and it's like 1080p, 60 frames per second. It's like a fucking gangster ass monitor, and I guess not everybody does that.
So I mean, given the choice between 60 frames a second or split screen, I don't think they don't have to be mutually exclusive. Like, there's nothing.
I think that they needed it in order to make.
It wouldn't have been 60 frames per second on both screens.
Yeah.
Which I think was the issue for them. But if someone's willing to sacrifice that to play co-op, I feel like you should allow them to do so.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, I know it's probably easier said than done.
Yeah, I feel like it's a lot harder than it sounds.
But like, if their option is a trade-off, like allow people to make that trade. You know?
Yeah.
This is a quote from O'Connor, like this guy, Frank O'Connor, who's like the franchise director.
Mm-hmm.
And he's saying that like it's just not feasible for the way the game engine works. So maybe it really was more.
I think it probably was actually impossible.
Yeah, and that's what he's saying. Split screen is fun for me too. It's not something we can just patch in, and it's not something that I object to. We would have loved to put it in, but. He's like, we'll talk about it for the next game.
They looked at the statistics. They can see what you're doing when you log on live, and they were like, people weren't using it. Yeah, so then it wasn't there, and people bitched.
The people who like it was a big deal to probably didn't know that it wasn't going to be there, and then found out that it was going to be there, and like, what the fuck?
I'm still under the camp that like there's definitely people that fucked, but there's a lot of people complaining that are like, it should be in the game, and you would have never used it, you lying bitch. No. Like that, I'm honest with myself.
People do get more upset about the removal of features, even if they weren't going to use it, than they do about like if they just never if split screen had never been there in the first place. Like nobody would be like, oh hey, it was like supposed to have split screen.
Tom, you have 7 siblings. Split screen a big thing for you?
7 siblings.
Well, you have 6.
I'm one of 5.
You're one of 5.
One of 5.
I'm just making up numbers. So how was it growing up with 10 brothers?
Yeah, it was great. So me and my brother used to play, and obviously my friends used to come around as well. So we didn't really. Army of Two, we played things like that, but we didn't really do much split screen. I was never really a fan of it. We did in the early 360 days with like Call of Duty 3 and stuff like that, but I was never really a fan of it because I hated the squash screen. I prefer playing games by myself.
Yeah,
personally, and I'll play online. I'll play shooters online, but
yeah, you play shooters with me.
Yeah, if Destiny works.
We'll see if we can get that. That's a whole other fucking
whole of the region lock system.
Don't worry, guys. 15 minutes, 33 seconds, and I didn't bring it up.
God damn it.
That was my fault.
Destiny's the next subject anyway, and it's not Destiny's per se. But so, if someone came to you and was like 60 frames per second or split screen, what are you saying?
I'd say 60 frames.
Jack?
In a perfect world, we'd have both. Given the choice, if it's just me playing the game, like I'm buying it for myself, 60 frames.
Yeah, and I'm the same way. I would prefer to have 60 frames, and
but if I was in a position where I had like
if you could do
like
both,
a friend over often who like doesn't have I would take. I'd sooner play with someone else than have a 60 frames experience on my own.
No,
I think it's something getting older. When you're in your early teens, you play split screen more because you can't necessarily both afford the games. You don't have money.
That's what I'm saying.
We've all now got our own money and we've all got our own stuff, so you can just. I'd just buy it individually. I'd rather play online.
So that's what I'm saying. Like if I'm doing online co-op with someone, then 60 frames a second, of course. But like if it's the choice between being able to play a game with a friend and not being able to play a game with that friend, I'll take the split screen.
My 60 frames per second has gotten to I won't play split screen. It's like there's no scenario where I'll play split screen. It just doesn't work. I don't do it. And like if it was like, it wouldn't happen.
Even if you had a friend over who had like nothing with them, they would have to.
I mean, because then we would just do something else.
Okay.
Because I was like, well, it's not an option because like I don't feel like that's the way games are supposed to be played, like cut in half like that, and I just don't.
That's a fair argument. I'm just like
I just don't ever enjoy it.
Yeah.
So like I'm like, oh, we're just gonna watch a TV show or watch a movie instead because
we'll
like
take it in turns.
Yeah, or like do that. Yeah, so like. It's like something that I just won't do. And like obviously I'm spoiled by the lifestyle that I live now and where I don't have to. There was a time where split screen was a huge deal. Yeah, I mean, realistically.
I think of GoldenEye.
GoldenEye, but that was a relic of its time.
I think you're young, you can't... when you're younger, you can't afford to buy your own games, so you just play whatever you can.
Yeah, and like I said, this argument is not for me. If someone comes up to me, I want 60 frames per second at the exclusion of almost everything else. With the exception of maybe online features. But if someone's like, hey, we can make this game have a story or 60 frames per second, I'm probably like, it's a competitive shooter. Fuck the story. I just want 60 frames per second. You cut the story completely out of the game.
I know you don't even need to have a conversation.
No, I know that's not how you feel. But like, for me, and I say it all the time, like, I hold my shooters to a really high standard. Yeah. My biggest problem with Destiny is that it's not 60 frames per second. And I say that if you watch my streams on twitch.tv/SeanTwisters all the time, where I'm like,
shameless plug.
It's not. It's my fucking. It's my show and my fucking website. Twitch.tv/SeanTwisters.
Okay.
I bitch about that all the time, and then like when I go and play a 60 frames per second game, and then come back to Destiny, it feels like the game's broken.
You saw with Gears, didn't you? When you went to Gears and came back, you were like struggling
for weeks. I was like, I couldn't play Destiny the way I usually at the level I usually play. And right now Trials is out for Destiny, which is a hyper competitive first person shooter 3v3. Playlist, and like I was like, man, I really want to play Gears, but I'll fuck myself up. I won't be able to play Trials.
Yeah.
So like I just didn't play Gears that weekend, and I was like, I'll just eat it and play more Trials. And
I totally respect you like we talked about.
We look for different things.
Yeah, we talked about it last week. We're two very different types of gamers, and that's awesome. I'm glad that everyone gets to exist, but I just can't. I wouldn't make that trade. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. What about you? Are you more of a story guy or more of a multiplayer guy?
Call of Duty, I always play the story first. I try and finish the story first and then move on to online. But the thing is, when you're playing online games, you've got to have a certain. I hate getting destroyed. Yeah. And because I can't pump in as much time as I used to, I'm not very good at them. So I prefer to play the storyline. Finish that. You're against the AI. It doesn't really matter. When I go online, I just get hammered, so I didn't enjoy it as much. That's how I find it.
I think that you told me you used to be good at Counter-Strike.
Yeah,
and I tell people like all the time, if you were or are good at Counter-Strike, you could be good at any first-person shooter in the world.
Yeah. Source was my main. Me and my brother pumped thousands of hours. We used to, because we had one PC, we'd alternate every 2 hours, we'd swap and just be playing clan matches all day, all night.
Counter-Strike is the hardest, and I as someone who is very proud of what I've accomplished in video games and the level that I can play first-person shooters at. Like, I am not delusional. I give the ultimate props to people who play Counter-Strike, like at a high level, because it is fucking impossible.
We talked about that before. Like, if
Yeah.
you're playing,
If you're playing Counter-Strike like that, at that level, and you're fucking people up, like, you're...
you win.
Yeah.
I was talking to Sean Finnegan, and he was like, I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No
I
idea
was
what's
saying that. I
going
was
on.
like,
And I was like,
don't
I'm
even know
good
what
for
these
you.
words mean. Yeah.
But I think I could return you to your glory in Destiny. I think you just...
100%.
I think you just
Without
don't
training.
know what to do. Like, they're, like... Destiny is one of those games where you have to know the weapons to use, and it's like I went back to Destiny after 7 months of not playing it, and Fred had to coach me. Fred and Ethan had to coach me back into like, no, you got to use this grenade. No, you have to use this melee ability. No, you have to use this gun. And so like I like just learned the meta of the game.
That's the difficulty with Destiny is that
Knowing
background. There's so much other stuff. Apart from just the shooting, it's like there's so much behind it.
There's a lot of mechanics to juggle. Like it's funny. It's because like I still think that to be good at Destiny is very hard, and to be good at Counter-Strike is very hard, but for the opposite reasons.
Yeah.
In Counter-Strike, it's beautiful because it's like
Everything's so equal.
five mechanics.
Yeah.
So
it's just
equal.
twitch based and reactions.
Yeah, and knowing head level and knowing
Yeah.
when someone's gonna come around the corner and conserving money to buy weapons later on, doing I forget what an econ run and stuff like that. So like
there's loads of
I
tactics
do
behind
know,
it.
like so it's extremely tactical, but there's like 5 things you have to worry about. In Destiny, when you're playing well in 3v3, it's very tactical, and there's 80 fucking mechanics to worry about, and you have to worry about your special and your teammate's special. Like you'll hear me if you guys watch me stream, where I'm like, I always have to know what Fred's special is at. I always have to know what Ethan's special is at. And I'm like, what do you guys, 35%? 60%? All right, well, he has a 5-minute cooldown. So I know that we're okay for the next 3 rounds or so. But if a round starts to go on for too long, we're like, fuck.
Yeah.
This guy's special's hard. Speaking of Destiny, Activision bought Candy Crush, the developer of Candy Crush, for $5.9.
Oh, did I throw you off by writing buys?
Yeah.
Bill.
Billion.
I know. I know. I just wanted to really $billion. Not that.
Yeah.
That's a fucking insane amount of money. That is
More than Star Wars.
more than Star Wars and more than Mojang was purchased for. Who owns the most dominant video game IP in the world?
Until
It's
Candy
more than
Crush.
both of them combined.
Yeah,
I think it's more than buying Mojang
I thought
and
Mojang was no, is it
Mojang,
$2 bill,
Mojang, whatever.
like $2 bill.
2, yeah.
I think that was 2, and then Star Wars was 2. I think it was 2.9.
Almost 3.
We're making numbers up. We don't know, but it's a lot of fucking money.
Yeah.
Jack,
Crazy money.
tell me about it.
I actually haven't had much of a chance to read this, but yeah, 5.9 billion. Mega Acquisition has to go through approval in Ireland, which I had no idea that was like where they were.
Because they're an English company. Well, they were originally Swedish, and then they were based in London, and then I assume most companies when they get big enough, they set up a thing in Ireland so that they can dodge all taxes. And,
Yeah, it's true.
Ruin our country.
Yeah, you know.
My country.
Your shit is so expensive.
Yep.
You were like, you spent like $15 the other day on food, and I was like, jeez. And he's like, what? That's like cheap.
Nothing. Yeah.
I'm like, what is that cheap?
Fucking
If I'm spending $15 on food and it's not Five Guys, I'm furious.
So Activision is obviously an extremely profitable company.
Yeah.
I literally cannot deal with this. Activision is obviously a very profitable company, and like you think, why would they have to spend so much money on Candy Crush? Candy Crush made like almost like $1.5 billion last year alone.
The thing is,
so and this is exactly the point. If it holds that trend, they'll have their money back in 5 years, which is that's quick money. But if Candy Crush fades in popularity, which we've seen so many mobile games do,
the mobile industry is a young industry, isn't it? So you have to look at what's happened previously, which isn't very much. But you look at things like Rovio failing. And going completely downhill. And just how many people they find?
Well, they got that movie coming out, right?
Zynga, didn't they?
Yeah, I was gonna say, look at Zynga.
Well.
Zynga just fucking
imploded,
tanked straight off the edge, almost completely downward vertical line. Like they just hit the wall and
wonder
fucking
why
collapsed.
Activision are buying this one.
They have an idea.
They're a one-hit wonder.
They've got a few games, but like Candy Crush is like the
that's
you know. Yeah. But like as they're the kings of microtransactions. I mean, like that's why they make that much money. And like if you think that free to play is like a model that might be going somewhere, like no, not when companies are making 1.33 billion in revenue last year.
Yeah, in revenue. That's the important. Like they're not. That's in pure profit. That's
I don't know. So revenue might just be the gross income, but I mean,
Oh,
I
is
can't imagine they're spending that much money. They're not spending over. I can't imagine they're spending.
I
over,
think it comes.
like,
I think it comes
a few
out that.
million
I
to-
think it comes out that it'll be. It's 10 years worth of profits. I think it's 500 million
Sure.
profit a year. I think. So
Interesting.
they'll pay
Yeah,
off
yeah.
in 10. I think it's paying off in 10 years.
But again,
I
that's
think.
you're assuming that this company is going to be able to like hold on to that lightning. You know, like is that even possible? Have you ever seen a company do it before?
what if
mobile companies.
I was going to
Oh,
say
yeah.
the only company that's comparable is maybe, and like the game's not even that old yet, Minecraft. Like Minecraft was popular when it came out, and it's still popular now years later, and it
It's
hasn't gone anywhere.
incredibly popular, yeah. My big thing is like, so a while back I released a tweet before this purchase was saying that if Activision was to make a iOS game that allowed me to somehow through the game earn resources in Destiny for my character, not like weapons or like guns or anything. Well, guns and weapons are the same thing. Not like weapons or armor, but like just like
Coins and currency.
currency,
Yeah.
like strange coins, glimmer, which is the currency of the game.
Maybe like weapon parts or
Weapon
resources.
parts, which is now being sold in the game, so it's not as important as it used to be, but maybe weapon parts still, and upgrade materials.
Yeah. So you mean
Sure.
like a puzzle game or some
Yeah,
mini game that you
but
can
like
do on your
every-
phone while you're
yeah.
messing around. and
Yeah. I would fucking dump hours into that game.
Yeah.
Like I would play that game every time I
You
wasn't
play that
like,
game more than you actually play Destiny.
probably,
Yeah.
like because I'm not at
That'd be
home all the time.
accessible.
I'd be at work,
Exactly,
like just
yeah.
like shit, yeah, because I'm always out. I'm always out of resources. And we learned recently this week that Destiny has 25 million players logging on daily to play for 3 hours or more, which is an out fucking standing number.
It's crazy.
And
Yes.
which means that Destiny is a success, which is what we've obviously. People still give me shit like, I'm like, oh, what are you doing? They're like, what are you doing? So I'm like, oh, I'm playing Destiny. They're like, people still play that game? I'm like, yeah, god damn it.
That's
They
dumb.
still play this game. I think I hit my
It's
cat.
like in Fred's eye or something.
Yeah, but it just drives me crazy. I'm like, yes, people still play this game.
So just to put a final like cap on this, like Activision is claiming, and it's basically true, that this gives them quote monopoly on the biggest brands in gaming, because that means they have like Destiny,
Call of Duty, Destiny.
Call of Duty,
They already own everything.
they
Probably.
they own everything Blizzard has.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
They own Blizzard, and they own Candy Crush. So they have the mobile space, the PC space, and like just basically every console gamer locked up.
That's crazy.
It's
Speaking-
unbelievable. Yeah,
Speaking of Activision owning everything, Blizzard is a company that they own.
they do.
And World of Warcraft just released its numbers saying that 5.5 million people are still playing. Is that it? 5.5?
Yeah,
Which is
5.5
crazy
Which is still
million. Well,
million.
I want to say billion again.
5.5 million people are playing World of Warcraft. It's lowest numbers like ever.
Still higher than
Still a lot.
most targets
Yeah,
for a
it's-
lot of AAA games.
It's still a good amount,
yeah.
but it's also no longer going to be releasing the analytics on
Well,
who's
they're-
playing.
They're not that impressive anymore.
Yeah.
These analytics, yeah.
They're
But then
still
again, it's-
they're just recycling their old
Yeah.
resources. Like, I haven't played it, but I've spoken to people that have played a lot of it, and it's just recycling the same old stuff every time, the same models. So they've made so much from. I'd love to know do we know how much they've actually put into it?
I mean,
No, I
so
have no
the
idea.
upkeep has got to be. It would be almost impossible to like calculate from the outside perspective, but like, it's mostly profit. It's got to be
It's got-
almost
yeah.
entirely.
They made
profit at
$700
this
million
point.
last month on
Yeah.
This
just.
thing basically runs itself, right?
Yeah,
It
like
does, it's just
do the math.
it's-
15.5 times 15.
You know,
That's how
there's
much
some,
money
like-
they pulled in
Oh my god.
just from subscriptions.
You know, something like Blizzard Tech is like tearing out his hair listening to us be like, oh, it's barely requires anything to run. But like,
But
it's
as
been
far-
going for like, what, like 11, 12 years now?
But they're also hiring for quote unquote restoration.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So they want to, it says Blizzard hiring for classic games, StarCraft, Dota 2, Warcraft 3, to, quote, restore them to glory, which I think is a great way to talk about your games.
Well, I mean-
especially when they're that popular.
Yeah, my big thing is like I really loved Warcraft, like the first Warcraft game, and then I really loved Warcraft 2, and I played Warcraft 2 like a fucking insane amount. I probably put like 300-400 hours in as a kid playing
Yeah.
Warcraft because it would just be like, it was what I did when I watched TV. So I would just be like,
yeah.
just like click. I did the same thing with Diablo 1 because like Diablo 1 basically plays itself. I mean, until you get to the later stages of the game, it's rather easy, especially if you play as an archer. You're just like, oh god, run away.
Yeah, basically it's just, just links to an application. So if you want to apply for a position as a senior software engineer,
Well, I have all those credentials.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
I'm really interested to see how that turns out because I'm excited to watch Blizzard do something that's not World of Warcraft. Even though Diablo 3 came out recently and that was a huge success, and I enjoyed the fuck out of some Diablo 3. I really enjoyed Diablo 3.
I played StarCraft so much, like the original StarCraft, and I played a lot of like the online. You know how like Warcraft 3 had all those like online games that were basically modded versions of the game. Yeah, I played a lot of that in like StarCraft. I loved it so much. Like those, I love all of those games, and unfortunately, I don't have as much experience with Diablo as I would like. I played Diablo 3 a lot, but yeah. But yeah, no. If they want to restore those games to what like the height that they had when they first came out, that would be incredible.
I'd love to play Warcraft 3 for nostalgic purposes, just
Yeah.
to play it. I probably wouldn't put that many hours into it. I'd just love to play it again and just relive those moments.
So, do you think this is going to be like a texture upgrade, or do you think they're going to go into the game's systems, or do you think they'll touch the stories at all? Like, how far do you think they're looking to go with this? Complete speculation, of course, but
I'd assume just textures.
Just
I
textures.
think it would piss too many people off if they
Yeah, they really can't.
if they change the stories or change the because the mechanics. You know, people that got really good at. My dad was superb at them. I've never beat my dad in an RTS game ever. I can't.
My dad's so good at
I
RTS
can't
games,
beat
so it's so true.
And it's so annoying. I'd demolish people online, and he'd just go, "Yeah, do a game," and he'd just destroy me every time. I said, "What are you doing?" And
He knows you, Tom.
He knows me. But my brother was
sees your
worse.
weaknesses.
My brother was worse. He'd try and build walls around everything before he'd built anything inside it, and it was just like, you're an idiot.
No.
That's what you do when you're playing against the computer and you want your thing a little dope.
Yeah.
I also played, and this is unrelated, but RTSs are such a great genre.
They
I
are.
like played a shitload of Age of Empires 3.
Yeah.
Like I was just like, don't time
Two
it.
was so much better.
Two was definitely
two
better.
is the best.
Yeah.
3 was good though.
They're remastering that.
Oh, are they? I'll
I'm
definitely.
pretty sure they're remastering it. I'm pretty sure I saw news 1 or 2 days ago.
I like games like
That'd be
that
awesome.
because I can play them at work.
Did you guys play Age of Mythology?
No.
No, it's like the same thing, but like with
Greek gods.
Yeah.
I've heard of it. I know that they're making something for it.
Yeah, I was about to talk about that. I was excited about that a couple weeks ago because they're adding like a new expansion, and it's like 10 years later. They're
Yeah,
adding
it's
a new
crazy.
expansion.
You know, I found out that they made Dreamcast games up until like 2009.
What?
Yeah, there's like still look it up. I don't know if it's that
I'm not
recent,
gonna look it up.
but
I
like
can't believe you.
Dreamcast games, Dreamcast games were continued to come out for like a very long time.
That's great.
I've been doing a lot of research on the industry, and that's like one of the things I found out. Like they just opened up source code and I guess there weren't real like total releases, but like people could still acquire new Dreamcast games as of a couple of years ago. And then, like up until a couple of years ago, Sega was actually still selling the console on their website refurbished, and it came with a brand new game, like a new game that was like came out way post cancellation. We're gonna move on to some news that it's weird because I really don't want to talk about this, but like we have to.
We shouldn't.
Because we've been talking this to death, but like Konami confirms the closure of Kojima LA studio.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with Konami. I don't know what's going on with them. They insist that everything is cool with Kojima. He's fine. He's just going on vacation. We're closing the studio. He didn't have a big going away party.
Don't worry about it. It's all a bit hush hush, isn't it?
It's a weird. It's so weird, and it's because, of course, it's Kojima and it's weird. You know, like, it's just
What if this is all a lie?
It can't be. But
Yeah,
that would
I
be
know.
the most elaborate.
That would be incredible.
What date can you talk about it all again?
December.
Supposedly December. If he was fired, it would end in December.
That's when his gag order.
So yeah. But basically, yeah, it's just like Konami has made the decision to close the Los Angeles studio effective immediately due to product development resources being restructured into a more centralized unit. So they're pulling everyone back to Japan, I guess.
I have a Kojima Studios pin at my job.
That's pretty
That's
good.
awesome.
I don't know. I was looking because I moved cubicles from one cubicle to another room today, and I got a different cubicle, and I was like holding that pin, and I was like, I remember it was a weird moment. I was just like, I had such faith in this company.
Yeah.
Like this was and I would always people like
They couldn't fuck it up.
for years. People were like, "Who's your favorite developer?" And I was like, "Oh, Konami." Like no fucking doubt. And then I was like thinking the other day, like I was thinking when I was holding this pin, I was like, I will never buy one of your fucking games again.
Yeah.
What do you think about the concept of him going to another big company like Rockstar?
He won't go to Rockstar,
You don't
but
think?
no. I don't.
I think
that
he would need to go to a place where he has more authorial.
He's
like,
gonna
he'd be able. Yeah.
he's gonna use Activision to fund his own studio. He's not gonna go to a company like Rockstar or because people were flying that out like, oh, he's gonna be he's gonna head up a PlayStation studio. If PlayStation gave him the money, it was like build your own studio.
Oh yeah.
They're not gonna put him in charge of like polyphony or something.
No.
Like he's that's terrible. Kind of they would definitely.
Well, no. So yeah, I think Sean and I are hitting the same point. Like he would probably only go to a place where he knew he was gonna have the freedom to do what he needed.
Whatever he wants. Like
Yes.
I'm sure that he is so sick of
Of
bureaucratic
having bosses,
bullshit
basically, yeah.
and having a boss. Like where this is going to be pretty much like
Bosses who also don't get it.
here's $600 million, make a game, we'll check back in 5 years.
Yeah, like it seems like PlayStation's relationship with their first party developers are like really good. Like for everything.
That's what it seems. But then again, you hear the guys from like I forget it was like
That was
Naughty.
like one studio.
Yeah, like,
and you
it
hear
was like-
everyone else's like nothing but good things to say. And
No.
that was Chinese Room. You're talking about, right? Where there was a woman there who said,
Yes.
yeah.
But then again, like they've also like didn't the guys from like Naughty Dog have to go into another studio to help them finish a game that they weren't finishing?
I don't remember that.
I'm gonna have to
You
look
could
that
be
story
right,
up.
but,
Like I've heard of them like so I've come. And then again, look at Studio Japan where they've had Last Guardian in development for like
Ever.
I don't know.
80 years.
Yeah.
I think at this point, Last Guardian's the hype's gone too far gone that it's.
They became a joke. That's
We actually talked about this in our E3 episode, and it was like there's just no way that it could ever be what it's supposed to be.
No.
Or yeah, that
People are going to joke about it when it does come out.
That
so
is
they're like,
fair.
oh, is it actually out? And then, is it going to live up to it? I don't
once they
think
let it go past like 5 years, that was like a no-win situation. There was no way that
They should've just
Sony
canned
and
it, yeah.
Should've
exactly.
just
Yeah.
I just stopped talking
That's
about
the
it.
less
Yeah.
poisonous of the options.
They should have canned it. I mean, then again, they announced it and it's got like a lot of hype behind it. I don't think it looks like when I saw it running, I was like, that doesn't look very good. It looks kind of old.
Maybe.
Then again, like I had this conversation with somebody today where they were like, 100% Final Fantasy 18 or Final Fantasy 7 remake comes out in 2017, and I was like,
Nope.
you are. And I was really thinking about this. Actually, we're going to talk about this for a second.
Okay.
That is a nightmare project to work on. I imagine being like the guy, like, here, take this game that is most people who love JRPGs, like I would say a lot of people's favorite game ever, like the game that changed their life.
Yeah.
The textures, nothing is usable from the game, the original game. You're remaking this game, but nothing is usable. Nothing.
Yeah.
Sound files aren't even usable. The story is reusable, and that's like it. And like even there's like some weird translations in some part. We have to go back through and fix that. We have to add everything.
Yeah.
And we can't have pre-rendered 2D worlds anymore that you just run on the top of, because that's not what worlds look like anymore. Because now it has to be a legitimate open world.
Yep.
Filled with real characters, with real voice options, and real things to say.
And I feel like a painful part of that is that like a lot of it, they're really not going to have any creative say.
No, they're
No.
not.
So it's literally just following the script and doing everything the way that everyone either expects it to be, or you don't do that, and everyone hates the game.
Yeah.
Talk about a lose-lose.
The
Yeah.
other thing is, if someone thinks it's the kind of 2017, they're mental, because Final Fantasy 15,
Isn't even done.
they're still asking people what characters they want in.
Yeah.
That game
Today.
Yeah,
Today.
they announced.
That is not coming out next year.
That's where that came.
Never.
That's where that came. Somebody posted that in one of our pages that I follow, and I wrote like, I can't wait for this game to come out in 2045.
Yeah.
Like this is not coming out because they were like, oh, we're 55% of the way done like a year ago,
Yeah.
and like now they're like, oh, we're gonna patch the demo. Leave it.
Fuck.
We're gonna patch the demo, and yeah, like that game just is gonna. And that was announced 8 years ago.
Yeah.
So like, and you think that this game's coming out in 2 years? And by the way, when they announced the game, it wasn't even under development yet.
No.
It hadn't even
they were
been
like, this
started.
is what we're talking about doing.
Yeah, so like that game, I think that realistically, that game comes out like 2020.
Yeah.
And that's like me, and like people are like, the other guy was like 2018, stamp it, like guarantee it. And I was like, I will I screenshotted it, and I was like, I'll call you in 2018 when the game's not coming out. Final Fantasy 15, they released an announcement trailer for the announcement month.
Yeah.
They were like,
Yeah.
in March of 20 whatever, we're gonna give you the date of the game,
Yeah.
probably.
That is, we talked
That is
about
so
that
special.
too. That is fucking unbelievable.
Hilarious.
And like, just to put a final cap on this, Konami.
We look good, Fred? Alright, sorry, Fred's just checking the levels. He's doing stuff.
It's the first time. We've got to
Sure.
make sure it's running.
Yeah, we have to
Yeah.
make sure everything works.
But yeah, just to put a final cap on this Konami conversation, like they were in the same paragraph when they said like, oh yeah, it's closed. They were like, by the way, this doesn't mean anything about Metal Gear. We're not abandoning Metal Gear. It's
I
like,
bet you're
Please
not.
do.
this facility contributed to the this facility contributed to the more recent Metal Gear Solid games. Konami will still continue its operations to support all Metal Gear Solid titles, including the recently launched Metal Gear Solid 5 campaign and Metal Gear Online. And like, oh yeah, Metal Gear Online is still scheduled to release for PC in January. But like, it's not over. Swear.
I recently watched I watched these videos that have a bunch of information about different game franchises,
Sure.
and one of them was Silent Hill, and the way they ended, like, after they canned the project Silent Hills, which we've talked about on the show many times, is the most unbelievable fucking thing I've ever seen. Like, the worst move, I still think in the last 10 years, that might be the worst move a company's ever made, where there was such hype behind that game. Like, I've never seen a demo take off like that game's demo. It really took on its own life. And
it's
they
because
just
it was
canned
like the kind of horror that people have been asking for
Yeah.
years.
And it was
just haven't
fucking
gotten.
actually a scary game.
Yeah.
Anyway, they were like, don't worry though, Silent Hill is coming back and we're going to do something with it. And then the way the video ended, and they were like, and they did, because in 2015 they announced the official Silent Hill pachinko machine.
Oh my god.
And then it's like how the video ends. Everybody hates you, Konami. Go fuck off.
It hurts on the inside.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. And I want to point this out. There's a lot of really great people that work at Konami. There's a lot of really talented developers. I've met a lot of the people that work on their like social team and stuff. Like, you're all great people. I'm not upset with you. I'm upset at the company as a whole, the decisions they're making that's affecting my life. I don't actually think that anybody that works at Konami is a bad person, except for maybe the guy who probably had something to do with firing Kojima. You probably suck a little.
Do you think he got fired? Or do you think he retired?
I think he was probably pushed out.
Yeah.
I think
guess
some-
after a certain.
I think that, yeah, I think they were
Forced
like,
exit.
listen, you can leave, or, you know, we can fire you.
I would have been like, fire me.
And then maybe they did.
Like that would have been a good way to go.
I wish you would.
I wish you would.
I always said that at Best Buy.
Put hands on
They
me.
were like, fire, I wish you would.
So you know with
Then
Metal
I got
Gear, you know
fired.
the game, he hid loads of stuff in the game.
Yeah.
I wonder if he did that in the office.
Uh,
Just hid loads of stuff. Like just wrote like on the
Damn
bottom
it,
of tables.
Kojima, this is it.
Yeah, like, he'll be gone. He'll have been gone for like 5 years, and they'll move something, and they'll be like, "Fuck."
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what he got fired for. He was hiding stuff on.
Yeah.
So they were like, all right, time for the fiscal, where's the reports? And then Kojima's like,
Why is there just a fox on this page?
I hope that happened.
And it's like, I just like the CEO, he goes on this great
Yeah.
date, and he's this girl, and he's like, why don't you come back to my place? But he says it in Japanese. And then she comes,
as CEO, is in his early 20s.
He's
Yeah.
trolling for
maybe he is, you don't know. Listen, he comes back, and he's like, he goes to pull out his condom, and it's like, it's just a paper, and he opens it up, it's like, Fox died. / Kojima. I'm like, God damn, that's it! I'm firing him!
I was just imagining a scenario where he's like sitting in his office behind his desk and there's like a cardboard box.
Yeah.
You just
Like-
occasionally hear giggles from
Yeah,
it.
it's like, we see you. We see you. You
Fox
really have to
News,
come to this
if you're
meeting.
interested.
Alright, anywho. Wrapping up the news.
Speaking of clusterfucks,
Or
are we not going to talk about that?
no, we definitely are.
Okay.
Speaking of clusterfucks, I
Okay.
guess.
I'm sorry, is that not an appropriate way?
The PC version of Batman still doesn't work.
Yes.
And they've officially started to grant refunds.
Yeah.
This is, in 2015, this is unacceptable.
How many months is it?
I don't even know. When did I get it?
4 months?
5 now.
Summer, right?
6, yeah, come out in June.
Yeah.
This is completely fucking unacceptable. I think that not only should they get a refund, they should get a credit.
Yeah,
you know,
I see what you're saying.
of a certain amount of money.
To,
Or
like,
when the
the
game,
next
or when the
game or
game
something.
works, they should fix this game and give it to the people who bought it for free, with all their DLC. That's completely fucking unacceptable. That you're going to have a game come out and just in 2015 straight up not work, and you can't fix it in 6 months.
Well, you remember it's reminiscent. I mean, like this.
Kind of like Master Chief Collection.
I was gonna say either Master Chief Collection or Battlefield. Like neither of which scenario was quite as bad.
This is
as
way
this.
worse.
Yeah.
This doesn't work. Period.
But like you're kind of like, how can this be happening? And then it happened. It just seems to be striking these companies like, according to them, like totally out of the blue. Like they had no idea it was gonna be broken, and like
That's impossible.
yeah, which sounds unbelievable. But at that point, like, why would they open themselves up to this? It's
I don't
one of those
know.
situations where I'm like, it has to be more complicated than I think because there's no way they could. There's no way they would do this unless
PC is hard to develop.
Yeah.
There's so many combinations. Like, I remember when Rome Total War 2 came out. So I'm a big Rome Total War fan. Like
Sure.
The first one, huge fan.
Been
The
told
second
to
one
play
came
those
out. I was
games.
really excited for it.
Yeah.
buggy as hell, but mainly buggy if you had a really high-end PC, which was weird. And like it just means that like so my PC was okay and there were a few bugs, but it was fine. But like one of my friends who had it couldn't play it. Like their faces were missing. All the character models' faces were missing, and they didn't fix that for months. But
Good
it's
old
like
Assassin's Creed problem.
yeah, exactly. It was like that. Everyone looks like
Yeah,
really
yeah.
deranged, but. It's way harder to develop a PC, but it's not. It's not.
There's no
5
excuse.
months. Just don't. If it's not ready, say you're releasing it 6 months.
They scrapped the collector's edition of that game because a couple of the comic books got wet.
Yeah.
So they scrapped and like I have friends that work in the industry who are like those Batmobiles are fine. They worked. They are completely okay, and they scrapped them because of a comic book getting fucking destroyed. So you're gonna still put out the PC version that just doesn't work.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's
shouldn't have put it out.
almost so unbelievable that it has to be more complicated than we think. But at the same time, like, more complicated or not, you owe your customers something.
Yeah.
And I think you're definitely right. I think they need to. They are giving back refunds, which is a nice start. Like they're not being like, oh, too bad.
Yeah.
Well,
they would never be able to make another game.
Yeah, I mean, you would. This is another
This
example.
is literally the least they can do.
This is another example of like I beat the drum all the time, and so does our friends Colin Moriarty of Kind of Funny. Like, you really have to speak with your wallet. So when Rocksteady puts out their next game, or I feel like it's not their fault, because I feel like they ported this game to another developer who developed this PC port.
They did give it
Whoever,
to another.
but it doesn't matter because it's their title. Don't fucking buy their game. If you got fucked by this, don't buy their game.
Honestly, I feel like so we talk about that, but like. What if their next game looks really amazing, right? And you really want to play it? I think this is a clear indication that like you need to wait for reviews.
Yeah.
Like, and you need to wait for day one. You can't. I'm buying Fallout for day one because no matter what happens, like I'll probably be able to play that.
If that game is functional, I'll like it.
Yeah, exactly.
Even if it's buggy, we'll try.
Yeah,
for
sure.
a long time.
Yeah, exactly. And that's not a realistic scenario, but you know.
Yeah.
I'm laying that groundwork. Like, yes, there are some games I would make an exception for that I'll buy day one no matter what. Whoa there. But if there's a game that there's even a chance that it might not work out, you gotta wait for reviews and you gotta wait for it to hit servers and like hit that like everyone's downloading it, everyone's playing it. Like shit could get really fucked up.
Yeah.
And it's just like I think like you need reviews and you need to wait.
With
to see how
PC, it's
it
even
gets.
easier because you've got Steam. If you're buying, most people buy through Steam. You've got Steam.
The
reviews.
information is almost immediately out there. Yeah, you're
like
right.
within hours, people would have been putting.
Within
this
hours,
bug,
people
this
don't
bug,
know. Yeah,
screwed.
but within hours, I remember getting the update, being like, my friend who has a PC was like planning on playing the game on PC. Texted me, was like, "Hey, do you know about Arkham just not working?" And I was like, it was like 4:00 in the morning, and I was like, I don't know. I'll check. And I started to text my other friends who I know play PC games because, like, for a lot of my friends, I am the connection to that world.
Yeah.
And like, cause I obviously have.
Yeah, I'm the same.
Most
I'm a
of
gamer,
most of I always have, and it's something I've always been very proud of. Most of my friends know that like you need something in the video game industry, you call me and I'll at least tell you where to go. So I started texting my friends who I knew were diehard PC players, and they were like, "Yeah, man, Arkham just doesn't work." And I texted back and I was like, "Hey, does Steam let you refund stuff? Because you might be fucked." And he's like,
Steam makes it really hard, by the way.
So I once bought, I had the same scenario with X Rebirth, which is like this space kind of game where you're in a spaceship.
Sure.
And a guy I worked with at the time was, "Oh, you should try it out, it's really cool." I was like, "Alright, yeah, I'll give it a go." You couldn't play it. Like, it would crash constantly. And I think it's about 4 months again for them to fix that kind of game. And it's like...
Yeah, I forget what game it was, but
doing?
like, I had a game that just wouldn't open. And I never really bothered to figure out what the problem was.
Yeah.
And it was like a cheaper game, it was like $10, but I was like, I went to Steam support and I was like, can I like do anything for this? Like, just, I don't need my money back. Just like, give me Steam credit. Like, I don't care.
I think they're now better at it. Before you just couldn't. You couldn't at all. A year ago, you couldn't at all. Since I've moved on to Mac recently, so I don't really play many Steam games anymore. What are you doing?
What are you doing?
"What?
Just
You guys can't stare at my crotch."
It hasn't making noise with tape.
I was just pulling this tape apart and staring into space. It's been a long day.
It has been a long day, and it's not over yet.
It's not even close over. We
No.
have another
Got a lot of
5
work
or
to
6
do.
hours of work.
I mean, hopefully there's an intro to this
Make
video.
sure these people are
You'll know by now.
Yeah.
But hopefully there's an
That's
intro.
all
to
Tom Hawkins. I'm just here to look good and do the audio stuff, which I assume is.
You're not even doing any of those very well.
No, that hurts me, Thomas. Don't hide. We don't enable Jack.
I'm only joking.
I thought it's tough.
Jack's here because he invited himself.
Oh,
Oh.
All right, so the main topic of the show. 49 minutes in. Oh,
Cats.
I'm not apologizing. Man. Cats?
Mhm.
We could talk about cats forever.
The musical or just the animal?
Why not both? Pork and all those
Very
stuff. My
I don't
cat is
know.
like over there. So
I don't know anything with the musical.
It's very good. It's written by Andrew Lloyd Webber, who was the like antagonist. Is that the bad guy?
Yeah.
Of the boyfriend of the guy in The Nanny, the television show, which was a great show I watched on Nickelodeon. He was a playwright on Broadway, and Andrew Lloyd Webber was the guy that he was.
Is this the
always-
best bullshitting you've ever
Do you
done?
know
Or
I
you-
swear to
do you
God.
legitimately-
Lord Webber's got? He's got a dog. You know
He's-
what a dog's got?
Oh yeah. Okay. All right. We'll go right there.
I
But
bridged it. I bridged it.
I'm not bullshitting you. That is
That
really
is the truth. I think that's pretty true. I think that's reasonably accurate. What he's saying.
Yeah.
Sure. Why do you know that though?
I
Like,
love
why
The
have
Nanny.
you committed brain space to that?
I love The Nanny. I've seen almost every episode of The Nanny. She's hot, bro. She could get it. I know that she has like a weird voice, but like she can get it.
I'm not gonna argue with you, but I'm gonna let you know I can't decide if I'm impressed or just horrified or a bit of both.
Dude, The Nanny's a good show. Fuck
It's
off.
kind of like PT. Like PT. Am I impressed or horrified?
No, dude, The Nanny is a great show. It's and
Sure.
it goes through cycles on Nick at Night.
I got nothing bad to say about the nanny. I'm concerned about you, but that's fine. We'll just move on.
I also want to correct myself because I said a dog's got Fallout, which doesn't make sense.
I did hear
Fallout's
that.
got a dog. That's what I meant to say.
okay.
But I said
I was
dog
like,
has
I
got
was-
Fallout.
I was
Some
like-
dog out there has got Fallout.
Incredible. Yeah,
Yeah.
Fallout 4 comes out in
5 days.
5 days. There we go. That one. I've been doing a
4
lot.
days and 2 hours and 10 minutes.
Is it?
Yep.
Now you guys get to see all the weird stuff Sean does with his body when it's normally just me and him.
I
Hold on, I gotta limber up.
The Fallout conversations really take it out of you.
nerve in my back. It's very painful. I don't even do jujitsu recently. I still hurt myself. Anyway, Fallout comes out in 5 days. I've been doing a lot of research on the internet, trying to get caught up on the world of Fallout. I know a little bit more than I did previously. I watched some IGN recaps, some other
Awesome.
videos.
Isn't it awesome?
Yeah, it's
And do you
cool.
understand? Yeah, like I don't know if you already knew this, but like, do you see why Boston is like the perfect setting for a Fallout game? Because
Yeah.
of like the inherent like patriotism involved in that area, and like the history with the Institute from Fallout 3,
Yeah.
and like oh man, I'm so excited for that.
They also
entire
talk about
storyline.
Fallout in like or the Commonwealth in like Fallout 1 and stuff.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of different cool stuff about it.
The history from Fallout 1 to 2 to 3 is weird because like they're very different games, so you almost like wouldn't expect them to have as much in common as they do.
They do. You obviously don't need to know the other ones, but
Yeah.
I've watched like large recaps of like.
Loads of them are coming out now. GameSpot done one, IGN have done one.
Yeah,
everyone's
because
doing little
you know,
recaps.
like
When a game's this big.
what's
Yeah.
funny is like Tom and I were
Makes sense.
talking about this earlier, and like we're gonna offend some people real quick, but I'm sure that people, anytime you speak badly of Fallout at all, people get upset. But like Fallout is like this massive thing right now. Fallout 4 is probably gonna be the biggest game of the year
Maybe, yeah.
for mindshare.
It will be.
Oh, Mindshare, yeah, definitely. Well,
Um,
I don't know about sales.
No, I don't think it'll sell more. than Call
We'll
of
see.
Duty.
I don't know.
I'd like it to.
It's not unbelievable, but it is, I would argue, unlikely.
So when Fallout 3 came out, it was largely an irrelevant IP. Like Fallout, they were big off of Oblivion.
people,
Bethesda
people,
knew that company from Oblivion.
Yeah. That's almost exactly it. Like Fallout 3,
And
despite being
Morrowind, of
a, like
course,
a
yeah.
numbered sequel, was nothing like its predecessors.
Yeah,
And like it especially to a console audience would have been
and it's a completely
Totally
different
lost.
game. It's a
Yeah.
completely. It actually shocked me that they just didn't reboot the game. I guess they had too much lore. They didn't. want to
instead of
lose.
just
Just call it Fallout.
Yeah, but I bet that you gotta bet that 3 helped it sell a little bit.
I don't know if it did because like I remember picking up that game and being a little confused in the
Oh, like I
beginning.
missed.
And being like, well, fuck, I missed the first 2 games. This must be all explained in the first 2 games. I don't know anything.
That's the
going
kind of
on.
mentality
How well linked are the Elder Scrolls games?
That's true,
Not,
but
I mean,
they-
they're all
but-
different regions.
but they're-
there's stuff going on that's
but-
similar, and there's laws there, but they're not.
But we have Morrowind, Oblivion, and Skyrim. People don't say, well, this is the Elder Scrolls 4.
Well, yeah,
People
that's
call
what I was
them
gonna say.
Oblivion,
The
Skyrim, and Morrowind.
True.
exactly the
Yeah,
Elder
very true.
Scrolls number part is almost like this. It might as well be the subtext.
Yeah,
of it, you know.
and that's it is.
But
Like,
it is,
people
isn't
don't-
it?
No, but
Skyrim, Elder
it's
Scrolls
supposed
4.
to be like
Yeah.
Elder Scrolls 4 Skyrim, but it's really Skyrim.
It's well, look at the
Yeah.
box. The box art's like Skyrim, and then it's
Oh,
Elder
yeah,
Scrolls
alright,
4.
yeah. So, like,
or whichever one it was.
I always thought that was a little
It
weird.
was 5, wasn't it?
And I like that the Skyrim series or the Elder Scrolls series does that because it's like, I think it's brilliant marketing because it's like oh, don't worry, hardcore fans. We know.
Yeah, you kill
we're
two birds with one
here.
stone there.
But the big word here this week is Morrowind or Oblivion. And like I thought that was cool. We were talking about how great Morrowind was.
Well, we were saying that the moment that people talk about in Fallout 3, that huge moment where you leave, you do all the vault training and then you leave the vault. 10 minutes. Right, Fallout 3. I think we're going to spoil. If you haven't played Fallout 3 by now, you're probably not going to do it. At this point, 5 days before, I think it's going to happen.
And it's actually going to post
really
2 days before.
Yeah. So it's going to be
You're screwed.
Yeah, but
if you're waiting for this moment to get convinced to play Fallout 3, it's too late. Sorry.
It's too late. But that big moment where you walk out the vault and you've got the whole world to explore, you get that in Elder Scrolls. You get it
in all their games.
But
But
that's
that's always
Morrowind and Oblivion. And
it's
so good.
The beginnings
It is.
are always like painfully restricted, like almost painfully. Like I played,
Almost
I
to a
played
fault.
yeah, exactly. I played Fallout 3 just a couple weeks ago, just to be like, because I couldn't help myself.
I played it last week.
Yeah, exactly.
the day before I left. It was fun.
People are talking about the fact that like there's very little that you want to play when you're anticipating Fallout 4 so like greatly.
Yeah.
And I was like, the only thing that I can play right now is Fallout 3. And I got about an hour into that intro and I was just like, oh my god.
It's hard.
Like,
It's
oh
hard
my
to
God.
get through that intro.
And then they finally open the door, and it's like we're setting you free.
Yeah.
You are
Yeah.
no longer stuck in these halls. You're no longer,
Yeah.
and it's like it's weird because it's a feeling of their own creation. Because in any other game, you start in this big open space, you're not impressed by it. But like by keeping you so tight in that spot, like
that is, I mean, what they do is they make you stir crazy
Exactly.
and they release you, and that's
Yeah.
brilliant.
and it's perfect for a vault because that's how they.
But oh my god,
Yeah.
It's
Those
good.
interesting.
It's good the first time. The first
Yeah.
time you played them, it's enjoyable because
Oh,
it's
yeah.
fresh
there
and new,
should
and you're
be a
excited.
way to just.
This Fallout's, I assume, is going to be well. Obviously, we've seen bits of it. We've seen it in
Yeah.
where you're before.
They're
the
trying to
actual
save
bombings.
right before you leave.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
no,
Before you save
what they
the settings.
did I don't know if they like patched this option in, but they would create an autosave at that point, like just as you
Oh,
were
thank
leaving,
God.
so it's perfect. So
Yeah.
if you did it once, you never had to do it again, unless you're like me and you switched consoles like 3 times.
Well, I did a weird thing. So I played Vegas first, and I don't know why.
I was gonna
So
say,
I don't
does
know
Vegas
how
have
this
that moment
happened.
where it unveils the world?
No, so Vegas,
Kinda.
when you start,
It's
you
on
wake
shoulders.
because it's technically is a lead on from Fallout 3, isn't it? Because I'm pretty sure you
So-
can carry your save across. I think.
I don't
I've
think
heard
so.
you
I
can.
mean,
Or
so
have I made this up?
Fallout 3 takes place
You might
in
have.
I might have just made
DC.
something up.
Yeah, Fallout 3 takes place in DC, New Vegas, obviously Vegas.
Yeah.
I know you're not from here. They're very far apart.
Yeah.
Okay.
2,900 miles.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. No, but
Not in the wasteland. Not that far.
I don't want to spoil anything about Fallout 3, but that game has a definitive ending, and then it's
Okay.
I
Okay.
learned.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the equivalent of like England would be for me driving from my house to like Maine, or even probably a little bit lower, like Boston. You said you could drive across the UK in 3 hours, right? Give or take.
Cross, I guess I've never done it, but yeah. Probably,
So if I was gonna
You
go
could do it
from
in an afternoon if you ever got curious.
sit in a day.
so you couldn't do that in America.
Yeah,
It is
no,
inconceivable.
yeah,
It
of
is
course,
so
yeah.
much farther.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So-
so for some reason, anyway, I played Vegas first. In Vegas, you start off in a little hut and you're in some doctor's house.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
get shot in
and,
the
he,
face.
and you can't. Yeah, so you
Spoilers.
get shot in the face. Yeah, it's pretty well done. It's
You're
pretty
not even
well
controlling your character at this
No.
point. Yeah.
done. Yeah. So yeah, it does a cutscene beforehand, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And then you're just straight into it. It's just like,
Yeah.
here you go, and you can go to the little bar and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
for some reason, I don't know why, but I bought Vegas first and finished it, and finished low. I
If you ask
hundreds of hours
me,
into it.
I think Vegas is actually kind of it's a better
Vegas
game
is
in
a better
some
game.
in some ways. It's a better game in some ways, and I understand people's argument that Fallout 3 is like better overall. I still think I give it to Vegas slightly, but
Yeah.
I know that's an argument that they're both
Are you gonna die on that hill?
no, they're both winners at this point. Like I'm not gonna. Like,
I hated
claim
Fallout
that
3.
one's worse. But yeah, no, they keep you in the doctor's office, and what they do that I thought was clever is like your character is kind of injured at that point, so
yeah.
they don't let you run, so it's like a little bit artificial, like
Yeah.
the sense of slowness and crampedness. But yeah, it's like Fallout 3's beginning is like 2 hours maybe.
Yeah, it's too long.
Fallout
That's
3
what it
Vegas
lost me.
beginning is like 30 minutes at the
Yeah.
absolute
Yeah,
most.
it's not
like
long at all.
yeah, and that's
It's-
like if you're like me, I was in Fallout New Vegas, and like part of the lore of New Vegas is that it wasn't as bombed out as DC was for obvious reasons. I guess you want to destroy DC, fucking bomb the hell out of it. So I was in New Vegas, and I remember that in Fallout 3, like new books, like not destroyed books, were very valuable in Fallout 3. And so I'm in this doctor's house, and I'm fucking taking everything off of his shelf,
was-
every possible item. And I'm just like, I get out there and I'm like, there's books everywhere.
Yeah,
This
that's what
is
I love about
horseshit.
Bethesda games is that this will happen in Fallout 4. Even though we've played the Fallout games before,
Yeah.
you guarantee you will pick up everything
But you
until
can
you're
use it
over encumbered. Yeah, but you can, but you won't know what's valuable yet.
That's true.
Yeah,
You'll
you
pick
won't.
up because now we know this. You'll pick up everything, and you'll come out of it. and You'll go, I'm nearly over encumbered. I've
Yeah,
got
yeah.
like enough for like a weapon and a bit of armor, and then just all this junk I've got. And
Yeah.
you slowly learn. Oh, I don't need that. And you do it with like Skyrim. I remember I was picking up like the skulls and
Yeah.
the bones because I might need these. And you quickly learn, no, this is completely
Like
useless.
necromancy
Yeah.
shit. No.
Yes,
it's
you
not
might need a
my
skull.
thing. Yeah. And it's like one of my favorite things to consider in Fallout, like that. You know how you see those pictures sometimes of like what GTA is like in real life, and the guy's got like 50 weapon structures.
Yes, yeah.
In Fallout, it'd be way worse.
Yeah.
You'd look like Santa that got drunk. Like
Yeah.
he brought like all the wrong things. It's just a giant sack.
Hey
of
Timmy,
trash.
you want a spoon?
I got 1,000 of them.
Speaking of spoon, never mind. I've been watching a lot of Sabrina the Teenage Witch recently.
That is quite a transition.
I love that show. It's pretty good. There's an episode
What's the
where
hype surrounding that?
there's an episode where Sabrina uses her magic powers to go inside of a little boy's house and steal his cat, and she gives him a spoon and says that she's Santa Claus.
What?
How fucking? I mean, and at the end of the day, it was Salem. It was really Sabrina's cat. The kid was kind of a dick,
Alright.
but
Fair enough.
weird, right?
That's crazy.
I'm glad I derailed that conversation so efficiently because you guys are really going back and forth. I hated Fallout 3 because the intro was so bad I couldn't get
Well,
through
You
it.
see,
did play a little bit of
Fallout,
New
though.
Vegas.
But I did play a little New Vegas, and New Vegas was cool, but like, that ship had already sailed for me.
Yeah.
The game was already very old.
Well, I
This
talked
game was
about
like
it-
3 years old by that point.
Yeah, I talked about it on the last podcast with you and Fred. Like, I'm worried that I don't want the same thing to happen
It won't.
with.
I'm so confident because
Okay.
I was like, Fred and I spend a lot of time together, obviously.
Yeah.
Like more time than any two human beings should ever be in the same room.
Sure.
And now we sit next to each other at work. We've gotten to cubicles next to each other,
That's adorable.
and so we were just like watching.
Fred's doing a little heart.
Yeah.
I was just watching Fallout. We were just watching Fallout stuff all day today at work. And we
Yeah.
were just like, it looks so good.
The stuff
been a
I'm looking forward to
horrifying
is
phase,
the gun customization
That's what I'm looking
and
forward
the
to.
town, building a town.
Don't care
Those
about
two
that.
bits. For me, that's it. I'm just going to spend half my time doing
Does
that.
it worry
The
you
gun
guys-
stuff's so cool.
Does it worry you guys at all that somebody was able to run from one side of the map to the other and Fallout in 11 minutes?
Yeah, I saw that.
Did you see that?
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, somebody got from one end to the other end of the map in 11 minutes.
Didn't you also mention, so GTA's 45 minutes, isn't it?
45 minutes to run from one side of the map to the other.
Honestly, like,
People say, but like the developers, the way they counteract is saying the game is very vertical and very deep.
I can
like,
imagine, well,
underground.
that's the thing, you've got the vaults that go underground, and then
and also, like, I don't want to like say any spoiler stuff, but there's like a lot of like weird shit going on in Boston that involves like almost an underground society, like or
Okay.
several underground
it could
societies. So there
be
could
the-
be like maps on maps on maps.
Yeah,
you know
and that's
I
what I'm
mean?
hoping it is.
well, because
That worried me a little.
to be fair, we've got the whole because they did mention when they released the iOS app, the what was it called?
The Pip-Boy app?
The
Not the Pip-Boy, which has now been
Companion.
I
released.
know exactly.
So
What
they
you're
get the
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
kind of
yeah, yeah.
iOS game they were
Fallout Shelter.
Fallout
Oh,
Shelter.
yeah,
That's
there it
it.
is.
Because there's rumours that will somehow
Time.
tie in somehow.
That would be
I'm not
cool
sure
if they
how.
just imported your
I hope so.
vault.
I've got Vault 69.
Of course you do. I played that game for 8 seconds before I realized
I played it for about
hated
3
more
weeks
points.
and then I forgot to do it. And
So,
Everybody died.
everyone died. And I haven't loaded it since.
like, I think I agree. I of course agree with Bethesda. I think in this instance, like Fallout has never had to be like the biggest game all in one space. And like frankly, Fallout 3 was mostly flat plain with just a bunch of shit in the way, like a bunch of buildings just blocking your path from different angles. But like every building, not every building had stuff in it, but like every time you spot something on the map, there could be an entire map, like 10 levels deep in
Yeah.
that same area.
Yeah.
You know, so like
Well,
it's a much
Free
more
in Vegas
sprawling
had
game.
loading screens, didn't they? Between sections.
Yeah.
So when you
Not
went
sections
into
of the overworld, but
No,
every
but-
time you went into a building.
Did you just boot up Fallout Shelter?
The addiction's real.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's.
So
I'm
safe to
not
say.
worried about that.
So you're not worried? Alright. That's good. I mean, I
Also,
worried me
you
a
know,
bit.
you know what the circumstances are of that.
Yeah, I mean, he was wearing light armor. They said he was sprinting, which is like, apparently that wasn't in the game before. You couldn't sprint in Fallout games. I didn't realize that. But just like every other game, they added it. Because sprinting is
Maybe you couldn't.
People always say, we're
I
like,
guess
oh,
not.
Sean, sprinting isn't that big of a deal. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I'm looking at you, Just Cause.
You actually talked about Just Cause, and then I saw some gameplay of it, and it looks pretty fast.
You
It's
don't
not.
need to.
Like, not
but
the-
no one
not
seems to
the-
run
yeah,
on the
no one
floor.
wants
Everyone's
to
using
run.
the whole grapple
I'm
And
telling you,
parachute
I'm-
technique where
I'm
they're like
telling
doing
you.
that weird But I don't see why you'd overly. It seems the main way of traveling around is
running.
not running.
Seems
You're in
like
a
the
car
most
or you're
boring
doing
way
that.
to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's still
Okay, I mean, I'm
it's
just saying,
still,
like, that's
when you play the game, for the first 3 hours of the game, you're constantly looking for the sprint button.
Before, I had nothing to say on the subject. Now I can say I don't think that's going to be as big of a deal to me, and
I'm
maybe
interested.
some other people. I
I'm
don't know.
fascinated to see if it's a big deal for you because I'm not buying the game now.
I'd be fascinated if I bought that
You're
game.
not
I don't know
strong.
if I want it.
Yeah, no, I was just I can't play it. I was struggling so much in that demo that I was like, I'm not having any fun because it's like, it's not in a game, and
It's weird. 'Cause
I would use that feature all the time, obviously, and I was just like, this is really upsetting me.
was there anything even locked on? Was there even anything on that left trigger, the pressing? Like,
I don't
even just
remember.
that is.
I think aim outside, maybe like the bootleg ADS.
That game looks a bit weird because I watched you play it and I've watched a few Let's Plays of it and it seems a bit too cartoony. I don't know. I don't think I will pick it up, to be honest. I'm
It
not
seems
sure.
like they took.
It's a bad year for it to come out. I think.
Yeah,
It's a
definitely.
bad
Like, Fallout's
time.
just going to take a lot of time. And then I've got a backlog.
Star
anyway.
Wars.
I understand like the appeal of it in that it seems a lot like what people love about GTA made into an entire game, like the ridiculous circumstances and the fact that you can blow up whatever you know like.
Yeah, it's like
And
GTA no rules.
yeah, they put in a lot of ways for you to just like mess with stuff
Yeah.
in ridiculous ways. But like, is that enough to really sustain a game? Like nobody talks about the story. As far as I know, there's no multiplayer.
No.
Like so, it is just.
It seems like one of those games. It's like God mode when you're just
Yeah.
messing around. Like Saints
Saints
Row
Row
got
4.
like that, didn't
and
it?
even
Well,
that.
I, need,
yeah,
so I
it's
loved
boring.
Saints Row the Third. I
Yep,
think
that
I
was the one
really
I was
enjoyed
thinking
that. I loved that game, and
That
then I
was
was going to get
perfect.
4.
That was the perfect amount of over the top.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You could just dress up stupid, and you can have crazy weapons, and,
And
it's
you,
quite
and, you,
funny.
and you had like giant heist missions, but they
Yeah.
weren't every mission.
And the story was quite good, and
Yeah.
then there's that big boss battle at the end and stuff. Spoilers, aren't really spoilers.
The first mission
But
that
the
gets
boss
really
battle
cool.
at
There's
the
a
end.
boss battle?
Whoa!
I've never heard of that in the game.
I thought that
Everyone does.
I thought that I thought that it was really cool. The first mission where they pull the bank vault out of the building.
that's
Yes.
Helicopter.
It's just so funny.
cool.
It's just
And
it was
then
like
the
it's one of those-
skydiving one.
yeah.
but-
Because
No,
it's
it's
like
so good.
because GTA's got this really funny moment, but GTA's kind of it's a smarter humour, isn't it? It's like they try a lot harder and it's more
Yeah.
it's a subtle humour. Saints Row is like we're just taking the piss out of ourselves and we don't
Yeah,
care.
that's-
And then I looked at reviews for 4 because I was like, oh yeah, I love Saints Row 3. I might get 4. It's quite cheap at the moment. And it was just like it's fun for 10 minutes because you can just fly around and just blow up whatever you want. But then it gets boring really quickly. And maybe Just Cause will be the same as that, where it's fun for like half an hour. Because even Just Cause 2, the story wasn't great.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Gunbound gets boring after a while. Like once you remove all the challenges,
It does.
the game,
It does. It's
what's-
like
like,
it's
what
fun
game
for
is
it.
there?
So you wonder if Just Cause will do well.
Yeah.
Who
I'd be
knows?
curious to see when
Yeah,
once
that'd
it
be
gets reviewed and once people have it in their hands.
Yeah, well, I feel like that's probably it. That's probably a good time to end on.
Mm.
Yeah.
We have to do Let's Plays and stuff. So, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Sean. You can find me at Twitter at Sean Twister. Twisters, sorry.
Don't do that again.
Sean at what?
What?
Where am I?
Do we need to do it for you?
Just put it right
Yeah,
there.
there'll be some graphics, hopefully. No, there are, because I've made those. They'll be
Oh,
there
you already,
somewhere.
I watched you make those. Yeah. You can find Jack at Jack is Gaming. You can find Tom at Tom Hawkins, the number 5.
Tom Hawkins
You can
5.
find all of us at nerdsonline.com. You can find Fred at underscore.
Go screw yourself.
Do you wanna-
Underscore.
do you wanna
No,
borrow this?
no. He doesn't get to be on camera.
Do you wanna?
I'll
No,
be on camera.
We don't want people to know what you look like.
People
I'm
are
gonna be on the left.
Oh wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna be on.
We bought the
We're gonna
green
put-
screen suit for you. We're gonna.
Yeah.
I don't have the green screen.
We're
suit.
just gonna-
I would wear it.
We're just gonna green screen
That'd be
like.
so good.
So
Just
what
a
is your-
controller.
what is your actual
Just a controller
Twitter
playground.
It's Fred
Underscore
_Sully.
Sully.
If you guys
Fred
want,
_Sully.
if you guys
One
want to keep
L.
up of nerds,
There's 2 L's and stuff.
Okay.
if you guys want to keep up with nerds around tables behind the scenes, Fred does a lot of cool pictures. He tweets pictures of Tom and I playing pool.
Yes, we've
So
got
like I said,
t-shirts.
I hope we have T-shirts. These aren't for sale.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe-
I wasn't
maybe
sure
they
if
will
I
be.
was supposed to reveal that.
We hear you.
If we get enough interest, we can try
Yeah.
and sort it out.
Yeah, if you
I'll put
are
it.
interested, make sure.
Make sure you guys tweet me and let me know. Make sure you guys go tweet at Hot Pepper Gaming and let them know that at Sean Twisters needs to do a fucking gaming review for them. I want to do one so bad.
I would love. I want to see Sean do.
So everybody tweet at Hot Pepper Gaming. Let them know your boy Sean wants to eat a ghost chili pepper on camera.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm going big.
No.
I don't do things halfway.
because
do you see the really expensive light that we're all staring
no,
into?
no.
We don't do shit 50% of the way here.
No.
We don't.
It seems like it's an absolutely terrible idea. You put it in your mouth, and you'll either die or you won't be able to talk about a game.
We hope that you guys enjoy all the new content. We hope you're as excited as we are. Jack is a silly bitch and needs to calm down.
There's a lot.
Oh, I'm
There's a lot
sorry.
of
I'm
stuff
looking
going.
out for you.
I'm fine. I've eaten the ghost chili peppers before. Yeah, I have.
A whole one?
Yes.
How was
Jenna
it?
was there. It was terrible.
I'm gonna.
Could you talk?
Is there
Yeah.
video?
What game are you
You're telling me?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
I don't know. I don't know if they've done the Taken King. I don't know who would better to do the Taken King than me. I fucking played 400 hours of it pretty much.
Maybe.
Me too.
Anywho, we hope you guys are as excited as we are. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. Make sure you guys visit nerdsonline.com. We built a website, and by we mean the guy with the beard and the guy with the good beard. Until next time, good game.
If you enjoyed that video, click over here on this picture of Whoopi Goldberg to watch more video content, and click on this telephone to visit our website.